What's up again, guys? Hope everybody's had a solid weekend. I hope you consumed enough content as we did, unlike Byrne, who consumed it like an imbecile, as he just said. Because he was doing this thing where he's just like, what? This is happening? It's like, you've seen this 5 fucking times. What is the matter with you? And you kept doing it just to annoy me. I'm like, shut the fuck up. I had to fast forward stuff, just be like, shut up, shut up, shut up. I don't want to hear your voice.
I just like to imagine, someone seeing something for like the 100th time and still being like, wait, what? Like, this is crazy.
As
Batman
always, guys,
is Bruce Wayne?
Oh my god. As always, guys, this is the Bodacious Rant with Byrne and Rye. And we're coming at you with, as you know, another episode of The Boys. Specifically episode 4 or part 4. So we're just going to jump straight into the spoilers of it all. And before we do, guys, please don't forget to throw down a like, ring the bell, and go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, because again, guys, we do appreciate the following and the subscriptions, and just keep up with the views, guys. Again, we it warms our hearts, like literally. Not trying to be an asshole. I'm being honest.
I mean, now, if that makes you an asshole, then I'm a big one. Gaping like a wizard's sleeve.
That's a horrifying image. I don't want to ever imagine that. So this episode, like the first 3 episodes were batshit crazy, and this one was definitely like, it's about the halfway point, because I think they're only doing 8 episodes, right?
Yeah. I think the last few seasons have been 8, and I think this one is going to be 8, unless something changes. I don't think that's the case, so I think it's the halfway point now.
So, after Frenchie meets with Nina, or little Nina, that's when, Butcher just takes full advantage. He's really being a super asshole this season. Like, you didn't think he could go any higher, but we know why he's doing it. He's trying to protect Ryan, and I think he's kind of, with the V24, he's kind of on that like leg of like, if I'm gonna go down fighting, and I'm not taking you guys with me. This is my fight. You guys are just helping me get there, kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but then also he's sort of like using them in the ways that they sort of have at least made it known that they dislike. The way he uses Kimiko as a weapon, and she wants to be more than that, and how he treats Frenchie like, they'll go for like a dog essentially, and Huey, how he's trying to keep him innocent and stuff, but Huey's at this point now where he really wants to stick up for himself. He feels a little bit impotent. So yeah, the whole dynamic of the boys right now is at a very fragile state, I would say, and Butcher isn't really helping that at all.
No, if anything, and he's also using mother's milk as just trying to keep it together. Like, it's, even though it's a term of endearment, like later in the episode is like, you're the one who keeps the team together. Like, you have to be here when I'm gone. It's like, all right, if there is anybody left, but Huey, I absolutely understand what he's going through. Like that he is in a very dark place. I think the darkest he's been the last few seasons, and especially that moment where he squares up with Homelander. Even Homelander's kind of impressed, like, oh, like, what are you gonna do about it? That was a very like intense situation. Like, my heart kind of stopped. I was like, oh fuck, like, no, stop, Huey. He's gonna annihilate you in an instant. And Starlight's like, you touch him, I leave. Like, good fucking luck without me. And he's like, oh, I'm kidding. And the bastard even had the balls to sign his cast. Like,
yeah,
what a douchebag. Just, again, Anthony Starr is just like the best villain this season. You love to hate him, and there's not a lot of people that can do that. You want to hate somebody, but it's like you love to hate him.
Yeah, it's like I despise the guy so much, but I can't wait like every week to tune in and see what type of bullshit he's gonna pull this week, because it's like, like you said, you just hate it, but there's some part of you that's like you like it. You're just like, oh man, like I like seeing this guy being a total dickhead, but you do hope he gets his comeuppance at some point at least.
I hope this is the season he kind of gets put in his place. I don't know. Everything seems to be, the last couple seasons we think it's gonna happen, and then totally flips it, so we'll have to see. But one of another crazy moment / cringeworthy moment was when A-Train's stupid commercial comes on, and it's just how he stops a whole riot with protesters, like BLM protesters and the police, gives them a drink, and they're all to get like, what? Like,
Yeah.
oh my god.
For people who don't know, like, the reference, it's straight up parroting that the Kendall Jenner Pepsi commercial where, you know, she does the same thing, pops the Pepsi can, gives it to the police, and everything's all peaceful. It's like that was such a tone deaf ad at that point, and I like how they continue to use real life things and parody it in the show, and this was a great moment for that, just showing again his activism being just a complete phony. Like, it's like, dude, like, you don't care about any of this stuff except for it keeping you relevant. So it just comes off as cringeworthy at this point.
Yeah, but I mean, even though he is, it seems like it's also kind of getting at him a little bit. Like, where at the table he tries to go after Blue Hawk, but then the Deep again and his, C word of a wife that rhymes with bunt. She texts him that bullshit statement, like, well, wouldn't lessening crime be bad, make us look weak? And of course, Homelander's going to agree with it because, again, he's not a Nazi, but he's also just kind of a tone-deaf moron.
Mm-hmm. He has like very fascist tendencies. So being like that overlord that he wants to be is like, he's playing into that. Like, his wife is very not Homelander's wife, Deep's wife is very manipulative into finding creative ways to get at him. So it's like, okay, like, we really see the Deep is not the brightest tool and brightest, light or the sharpest tool in
he's
the shed,
definitely a tool. Yeah, that's
I mean, he is a tool, not a bright one though. No. Or a sharp one.
And then, Edgar and Newman, that was another crazy thing where we think, oh, Newman's gonna get at Homelander publicly, just go with Edgar's plan. Again, another just great twist I kind of didn't see coming, where she flipped it on Edgar and threw him under the bus, and it's all because she wants to protect her daughter. She's scared that Homelander can get to her instead of Newman. And their little exchange in her house was pretty just. It's all, how do I put it? It almost reminded me of like a Batman Superman moment where like except they're two like supervillains essentially, just like, okay, I did your job, I did your part, like, let go, kind of, like, you know what I mean? It just felt like that kind of gravity of a moment.
For me, it was very much like making a deal with the devil moment, mm-hmm. Where she ended up siding with him because he had something that she wanted, which was the compound V that she wanted to give to her daughter. So that we're gonna see what that entails. Like, yeah, maybe she's able to keep her daughter safe, but what does that mean now that Edgar's out of the picture at Vought? What is that gonna lead to with, Homelander effectively taking control of this company now? So yeah, a lot of things to see how they play out.
Yeah, Homelander taking control is like, Jesus Christ, you just gave either a loaded gun or a working car to a toddler. Like, this mm-hmm. is not going to end well at all. And then his whole line of like, well, shouldn't have been him anyways, it belongs to us. It's like, it's not us, it's you, dude. We know it's you. And after A-Train and the Deep kind of square up and go at it a little bit, Homelander siding with the Deep just because he hates A-Train right now and disgusted by him, literally and figuratively. Mm-hmm. Supersonic, when he told him, I think I have a plan to like get at Homelander, I was like, no, do not tell this fucking snitch. He's a piece of shit. He only will look out for his own self-interest. Mm-hmm. And we see the repercussion at the end of the episode where him and Starlight are their first public outing as a couple. Ugh, horrible. And on that rooftop, we just see Supersonic just mashed. Mutilated, yeah. Head's gone, part of his body's gone, legs gone. Horrible. And he actually seemed like a decent guy. I thought he was going to end up being like a douchebag, but he really wanted to help Starlight, and Homelander's like, well, A-Train already told me about your little mutiny coming up, and this is my example. So you try this shit again, and this is going to be Huey. And mm-hmm. I was like, oh, you piece of shit. But he's not wrong. Like, dude, he'll do worse to Huey. So
yeah, that moment was a total gut punch. I mean, you kind of had that feeling that it might happen, because he was such a pure soul, and there was opportunity, of course. We've seen these type of sort of storylines before where the old flame comes into the picture and tries to win his girl back, and I'm glad that they didn't go that route. Maybe they kind of hinted at it a bit, with his little remarks, like because he's still in love with her. I'm sure there was like a little part of him that maybe he does, but there wasn't enough for him to sort of try to interject himself between Starlight and Huey. So I like that they didn't go that far with the character, and that made his death like even like hurt a little bit more. Where he was a new guy, he was a kind soul, and he didn't know the dynamic of the team. So when he saw A-Train act the way he was, he doesn't know what we know. With what a lot of the other characters know, that he's a total piece of shit, and he's only out for his own self-preservation. So yeah, in that moment when he trusted him, that was his downfall, unfortunately.
Yeah, and then but before that was a crazy way to end it. But then back to the boys in Russia, they find out where Soulja Boy is after Kimiko was sent to this oligarch or this guy's house, basically to pretend to be like a prostitute, which Karen Fukuhara was rocking that dress beautifully. I liked it very. I liked the song that came on. I forgot what it was, but I was like, yeah, that actually works with the dance.
Yeah, it was it was a Russian cover for, I forgot which pop song, but yeah, that was cool.
Like I know it in my head, and I was like, damn girl, get after it. But and then it's like she kind of did. I wish if I could find pictures, I'm gonna totally put them on. But basically, the whole death by dildo scene was hilarious, but badass as fuck. Like she totally aced these guys, like with a whole 7 themed dildo set, which was of course it had to be by dildos, just.
It's very in line with the boys, with the show, like the tone of it all, just this ridiculousness of all these different themed dildos of the 7, and just her using that to just completely brutalize these guys. Kimiko's awesome. She gets a lot of the really cool fight sequences. So this one was up there for sure.
I'm really I'm really empathizing with her. Like she's definitely starting to get done with this work and not taking butcher shit. Like I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. I want to be a normal, like she wants to live a happy life essentially, not just be covered in blood and guts every day.
She wants to live out the childhood that she missed out on. She wants to go to theme parks and try food and do fun things with Frenchie, and they keep getting dragged back into this line of work that forces her to be what she dislikes so much about herself.
Again, Karen Fukuhara she does that so well. All her mannerisms, especially when she does the sign language, like it's so emotional. It's just so well done, and I love the very last scene where they infiltrate this the base, like this factory, like this warehouse looking place or this building, where it's supposed to be the weapon that kills Soulja Boy. And Mother's Milk, when he hits the guard, he's like Red Dawn. Rocky
Red
IV,
Dawn,
motherfucker.
Yeah, a lot of these America versus Russia movies.
Basically, all the movies we want to. So he's just throwing it in their face, even though he probably like doesn't give a shit. And we find out that the Russians have just been experimenting with soups down there. Like we see the Jamie the hamster.
Yes,
that was crazy. Where he's just super speeding. And then when everything goes to shit, he eats that guy's head in. I was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Oh my god, the hamster did it. It did it. I was like, oh my god, that's a horrible way to go. And actually before that, I kind of forgot about that part. But I love where Butcher's like tying off to do the V-24. Huey walks in and he's like, I want some of that. Like I feel like he's opening his heart up to Butcher, hoping Butcher would, all right, mate, let's do it. Instead, Butcher's just telling him, you don't want no part of this shit, okay?
Yeah, you don't want none of this.
But he's not wrong. He's just he's basically, because he knows he's kind of far gone. He's kind of on a suicide mission. Like, I think he's trying to be at least, and he doesn't want Huey to be a part of that because he knows he's a good person, and basically everything he kind of sees his brother inside him, and he's like, I'm not doing it. But when Butcher goes off in that gunfight, that was awesome. I was like, yes, this is sick. This is like the good version of Homelander.
To an extent, yeah.
Yeah. And then we see Huey fucking save Mother's Milk from across the room because he teleports and puts his arm through this dude. I was like, oh, he did take it. That's crazy. That's also a pretty cool power, except he was butt naked after. And Mother's Milk's like, your dick's out. It's like, oh, I'm sorry.
It's a very interesting interpretation of teleportation also, because the way we've seen it in media, it's like, everything teleports with you, and here it's just seems just like his body. So he's when he teleports and is naked, I was like, oh, okay, that's a cool, fun boys twist on that sort of superpower.
Yeah, I mean, also just shit, it was pretty badass. I mean, I think the best teleporter was Nightcrawler, like the Nightcrawler scene in X2. I think that's always the best version of teleportation. But yeah, and instead of opening that tank up to see a weapon, I don't think they were expecting Soulja Boy, because they know that he was in Russia, but they were like, Soulja Boy, like he's alive, looking all Winter Soldiered out except with the giant beard. And
yeah, it was kind of like a mix between like Winter Soldier and Wolverine when he was like the Weapon X version. Yeah, that like that cool little combination.
That's a good thing. I didn't think about that for a second, but oh man, Jensen Ackles, man, he got jacked for this role. I was like, holy shit, dude, your arms are huge. I never really watched Supernatural and haven't seen him in other stuff outside of it, but he always looked kind of like not as built, so I was like, you know what, props to you, man. That looks, you look awesome.
He was shredded. Probably had an 8-pack.
Yeah, right. He's probably not even 30 pounds soaking wet, little bitch. And oh man, it ends on another crazy cliffhanger where I thought Soulja Boy was such like a Captain America character. I didn't realize he could do a fucking Iron Man laser beam from his chest.
A chest beam, yeah.
That was crazy. So I wonder if that's always been a power of his, or is that's the Russians experimenting on him. I'm very curious to see how they explain that or what happens with that. But
yeah, Kimiko, it seemed like it was something new.
Yeah, and then
Kimiko, at least that's how the characters reacted.
Yeah, like she gets thrown into the wall, and Frenchie's freaking out because like, oh my god, she's not healing. Like she's bloodied up. She looks like she's dying. And in the car, it was really weird. The car scene where Butcher's just trying to stay focused on the mission, and Huey's just like, I think he's on a high or something, where he's just,
it looked like he was,
like he's just looking at his hand like all bloodied up, like smiling. And I'm like, Huey, this is not the time. Kimiko's dying in the back. And oh man, I really hope Kimiko pulls through, because if she dies, I swear to God I will lose my shit. I will just be like, nope, I'm done with this. I'm not watching this anymore.
Yeah, and that little scene just encapsulated like what I think, the thesis of the show has been thus far, of this, the absolute power corrupting absolutely, this compound V24 that they're on, the two characters that are on it care less about their best friend dying in the van. Like they're one's focused on the mission, the other one's like, in like a high, like that, just off on his own little world, and the other two are like trying to keep Kimiko alive. So it's like, it goes to show that this, whatever's in this compound V is just, it only brings out the worst part of people and removes their empathy almost. At least that's what it seems like.
That would explain why a lot of those soups, for the most part, are total douchebags. Like why they're such horribly complex in the worst way possible people. Like Starlight is one of the only few that's actually a good person, and that's crazy. So anything else that stood out to you this episode, Burn?
I mean, and we're here at the halfway point now, and this episode I feel like was a really great curveball to the season, because it seemed like the season was building to certain things, and we sort of got like the rug pulled out from underneath us with a lot of these storylines. There was a lot of betrayals in this episode. There was a lot of, with the Newman and Edgar storyline, and there were a lot of twists with, the A-Train and Stormlight and everything going on with the Seven. So I think this episode did a really good job of, taking the expectations that we were going into this season with and sort of flipping them on their head to where now we're at these last 4 episodes. I don't know how things are going to play out. Not like I did before, but it seemed like they were building up to something, and now it's like they're completely flipped that. So I'm very, very excited to see what happens in these next few episodes, and I hope Kimiko pulls through. I really don't want that character to die at all.
Yeah, it's a constant tailspin this season, which I think it's done really well. Not a lot of shows can pull that off because there are some shows that just, oh, twist here, twist there, twist here. It's like, okay, where's the simplicity in this? Where's this making sense kind of thing? So,
it's always been in line with the characters. That it feels like it's a twist that's earned, not just for like story purposes. It feels like, okay, I can see this character making that decision that would sort of sit up these different paths. So it's really cool. Great writing in the show, but that's nothing new.
No, absolutely. But again, sadly, we gotta wait another week. So, for those who've been watching The Boys, especially this episode, what did you guys think of this? Let us know in the comments. We'd love to keep the conversation going. Is there any other Boys characters you want to see come out this season or next season? Since it got greenlit for another 4. Thank God. I'm so excited for season 4. But as always, guys, stay tuned for more episodes for us, especially with Obi-Wan, Miss Marvel, Buzz Lightyear, and the summer has begun. So there's gonna be a lot of entertainment this summer. And as always, guys, stay bodacious and keep on ranting, everybody.
Yeah, everybody, be good, be safe, and we will catch y'all on the next one.